What's up? What's up, guys? How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing good. Good evening. Live from Colombia. It is your favorite X Factor. My name is Alex. Thanks for joining us. I hope this video brings you guys some knowledge on, I don't know, if you guys have a plan on visiting or maybe becoming an expat in Colombia. So that's what I wanted to do today. I want to see if I can make these lives at least once a week where we can chat and talk and if you guys have questions about, I don't know, anything, then I'm here to help you guys answer firsthand from the trenches, from Pereira, Colombia. All right, that's where I'm coming to you guys live from right now. See if anybody logs in. Let's give everybody a minute, because if you haven't rang that notification bell, you're not gonna know that we're live. You're just not gonna know. Okay, so you have to click on that notification bell. You have to subscribe and you have to like and quick comment. All right, there goes our first chat. I'm here to talk to you guys. I'm here to answer all the questions. Bro, the game crazy yesterday. Yes, we're gonna get into that as well. Okay, today I want to talk to you guys about culture, right? The Colombian culture. And I'm gonna get into the whole game. It was crazy. I was gonna go out. I had plans, my wife and I, we were gonna have plans of going out to wait, did I just freeze? Give me a second. Let me see if okay, I didn't freeze. All right. We had plans, we were gonna go out to catch the game, because I don't know if you guys saw the one of our last vlogs. We were out there and people go crazy and people just having a good time and energy you feel. So soccer or football, like they call it everywhere else in the world except in the United States, that we call it soccer, right? It's like American football. People go crazy over it here. So in the United States, soccer, maybe the World Cup, everybody gets excited because it's a country playing against another country, right? Well, here, soccer, it's so big. Just the energy that you feel here. Like, I'm not really a fan. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm not really a fan of soccer. But when you're around the energy of the fans, it's crazy, guys. Like, you feel it. It's just something different. Anyway, we wanted to go, right? We wanted to go and go to a restaurant, see the actual match, feel the energy of the people, get a couple of drinks, have fun, cheer with. They scored a goal. They did. You guys already know the results. Colombia lost 1-0. All right. Anyway, it's so big. Like, it's so big in Colombia that the president of the United States, I sound like Joe Biden now, confusing presidents. All right, the president of Colombia, Pedro, right, he declared today, Monday, a holiday because of the game yesterday. That's how big it is, because people were either going to get too drunk, people were either going to go too crazy, and getting to work the next day, it was going to be literally impossible. So he declared it a day off for everybody. And when this happened, we were at one of our fruit places that we like to go get our fruits. It's in one of the vlogs as well. And the owner, he was just like, when he heard it, you can see he's like, Jesus Christ, because the workers, right? The workers, they're like, yeah, day off. That's right. This is gonna be awesome. We don't have to come into work. But of course, the boss, who's trying to make money, right? He's like, Jesus Christ. And I can't fire these guys if they don't show up tomorrow because the president declared it a national holiday. All right, let me show you guys. Colombia is so big into soccer. I don't know if you guys see this dude right here on the side. I saw him in every soccer match. Like, I saw this dude in every soccer match. From when they played Uruguay, when they played Panama, when they played Brazil. He was in all these soccer matches. I mean, there's fanatics out there, right? Just like they have them for football, just like they have them for baseball, I assume, basketball. Like, this guy right here, I mean, this guy looked happy. He was also in the Hard Rock Stadium in South Florida, sneaking over the fence, trying to get in. All right, guys, that was embarrassing. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I was going to speak about culture, and I had a whole thing planned on it, but that's horrible culture. And here's what's horrible about it, all right? That they won't do that here, but they go do it there, where you guys are most likely at in the States. They go do that over there. They don't do that here. Here, they try to abide by the rules for the most part, except when they get behind the wheel. We already spoke about that. It was just embarrassing. Look, can you guys see this picture? Like, it's like people are jumping over walls. Cops are tasing people. People are getting tackled. They're climbing over. Did you guys see the picture? I don't have it. I don't have it on the thing. But did you guys see the picture of the Colombian fans sneaking through the air ducts in the Hard Rock Stadium? Come on, man. Come on. How you cannot even to defend that. Like, there's got to be some sort of order. All right. Here in Colombia, let's talk about culture, things that they do there that they won't do here. When the whole vaccine thing was going on here in Colombia, everybody was kind of hesitant. Like, everybody was kind of like, you know what, maybe I'll take it, maybe I won't take it. You know how they convinced the majority of the people to actually get the jab? All right. And there were lines. People were waiting. People were very patiently waiting, standing in line, waiting to get in. They told them, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't go watch soccer matches at the stadium. The next day, you should have seen the lines. Orderly, nothing like this, all right? Nothing like that. Like, nobody was running to get the jab like this, all right? People were actually standing in lines, and I'll be like, man, just because of the stadium, like, I had friends. So my son was in a soccer team when we first got here, right? And one of the things a parent told us, they're saying that we can't get into the stadium if we don't get the jab. I'm like, so what are you gonna do? Like, well, I have to get the jab. Otherwise, I can't get into the stadium to watch the games. So there they went. Hold on, we got some comments. Let's see. Hard Rock was destroyed yesterday. Yeah, guys. That was horrible. That was 27 people arrested, probably even more. I wonder how many people were tased. I want to know how many people were tackled to the ground. Like, those are the questions I want to hear from the news. 97 people tackled down to the floor. I saw a dude on the Instagram feed, and he got tackled so hard his face hit the concrete. He was bleeding all over the place. Guys, that was horrible. It was horrible. It was embarrassing. Like, you can't even defend them. Like, I'm in Colombia, I can't defend them. But here, they won't do that. Like, for instance, if you go here to a shopping center, like, for instance, the Walmart here is called Éxito. That's kind of how I see it, because it's big. It has everything. It has from clothing to food to car supplies. I just bought some antifreeze there yesterday for my car. And when you go into these parking lots, you always have to get a ticket. So if you don't buy anything, you got to pay on the way out. Now, if you purchase, I don't know if it's 20,000 pesos or more, which comes out to about $5 or more, or 50,000. I forget. You have to, it's free if you pay a certain amount. If you don't, then you have to pay for the parking. Nobody bets an eye. They charge you to go shopping here. In almost every mall, shopping center, there's a gate. You go in, you pull the ticket, you go out. Now, if you stay less than 15 minutes, I believe it's free, except at the Éxito here in Pereira. Like when we go to the Éxito here in Pereira, then there's no, like even if you made like, oops, you know what? I decided I'm not going to go in. I'm not even going to park. I'm just going to go around. Nope. You have to go to the teller. You have to get the ticket stamped or pay, and then you can leave. Otherwise, you can't leave. But if you go to the gym there, which we're members of the gym there, then we get the ticket validated over at the SmartFit or at the gym. We used to go to the spinning center over in Arboleda, and same thing there. You get there with the ticket, they scan it or stamp it, you go to the teller, they check it, you're free to go. So, but nobody bats an eye about that. Nobody goes crazy about it. They just, all right, I guess it is what it is. But tell them to make a line to get into soccer, and they destroy the place. Like, guys, that was embarrassing. Like, it was totally uncalled for. You know what? After all that, sorry to say it, they deserve to lose. Right? I was cheering for them. I wanted them to win, but I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I don't know if, that was even before the game. What would have happened if they would have won? Because you've seen other celebrations in other team sports like hockey in Canada and sometimes football, in the States. When their team wins, they go outside and they'll flip cars, or a college team wins. So I don't even want to know. Like that was even before the game started. Imagine if they would have won. That came to my mind because my wife and I and my son, we said, you know what? I think it'll be great if we go out. We go out to a place. We make a reservation there where we can be part of the crowd. It'll be fun. Maybe we can vlog it. I think it'll be great for you guys to see what it is. So, the game started at 7 p.m. here, 8 o'clock in the States. We're an hour behind here in Colombia. Well, you guys are an hour ahead because you guys changed the time forward when summer started. The time here doesn't change. The time here stays the same throughout. So 7 o'clock. Let's go with that, all right? We went out. We went to just buy some supplies we needed. And there was a bus. There's this lane right by the terminal of the buses. A bus came out. It's covered in the Colombian flag, just going all throughout. This bus started making I don't want to say donuts because he wasn't doing donuts, but he was just going around honking, man, blocking all traffic. And I looked at my wife and I'm like, babes, look what they're doing. Even before, like, what's gonna happen if we do go watch it? If they do win, I told her, listen, it's gonna get dangerous. I really don't want to be out there. So we made the decision, staying home. We ordered food in. We made some chicharrones, some pig skins with some patacones, which is some fried plantains. We had jugo de maracuyá. I don't know if you guys know what maracuyá is. I don't even know how to say it in English. Maracuyá. Who knows? You guys will look it up. I don't know. Amazing, delicious. Then the game got postponed an hour. So it started in the States at like around 9:15. Here it started at 8:15, almost 8:30. So the game just kept going. So we would have got, like I looked at the time here, it was 11:30 at night when the game finished. I'm like, yeah, thank goodness I wasn't even out. Because we don't know. Actually, I think the people were just so depressed that they lost 1-0. They're like, yeah, okay, we're going home. Because I ain't hear any stories here of people burning anything or rioting or anything. Like everything was peaceful. But it could have been the other way around. If they would have won, who knows what could have happened. Now, I went to one of my friend's places that he owns it like a bar. And I told him, hey, dude, I want to make a reservation. This was prior to seeing this bus just going around, just blocking traffic on a main artery. And he said, man, I don't have any more space, dude. We have 182 reservations already. I'm like, holy moly. Congrats, first of all. You're going to have an amazing night. That's a lot of customers, right? That's why I looked at my wife and said, babes, listen, I think it's going to be safer. We just stay home. We relax. I can have a drink. It's going to be cool. Did I just freeze? Let's see what it says. The Argentinians were being arrogant at the end of the game and fights broke out everywhere. You know what? It's like the hooligans out in Europe, right? Like they're known for that as well. Like it's just, I don't know why soccer just has like this rivalry that they just want to fight always. Like you always see, not always, that's exaggerating, but like in these big games, the rivalry gets so hard and so bad that they just end up fighting. It's what happened with Uruguay. The Uruguayan players were jumping in the stands, fighting the Colombian fans, and they were punching each other and stuff. Guys, honestly, that was like, it's crazy. It's crazy how as a fan, I mean, it also happens like in the UFC. You see fans in the stands, but you know where it really happens at a lot, like these fights in the stands. Kids sports. It happens all the time. Like those are the worst. You see the parents coming in, tackling the kid because he wrestled him too hard on the pitches, right? I mean, that's what happens. Let's see another comment from Jay. It was embarrassing. This just gives us a bad reputation. Yes, for the Americans. No, for the football fans. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Because for the Americans, they're like, look at these, there was a place, look at these Mexicans. I tell everybody when, in the States, I tell everybody here in Colombia actually, right? So listen, I grew up in New York. I was born and raised in New York, right? And if you're in New York and you're Latino, you're Puerto Rican, right? They're going to call you Boricua. It doesn't matter if you're from El Salvador. It doesn't matter if you're Colombian. It doesn't matter if you're Mexican. If you're Latino, you're Boricua. And you deal with it. You're like, all right, I'm Boricua. It is what it is. Every time growing up as a kid, I was a Boricua. It didn't bother me. My friends were either Boricua or Dominican. I believe I was the only Colombian descent one in my group, right? In Brooklyn, Flatbush. It was what it was. Then I moved down to South Florida. Guess what I was? That's right. I was Cuban. They looked at me, Spanish, Latin. Yeah, he's Cuban. You're not Cuban? Where you from? You're Cuban. So, que voy a hacer? It is what it is. You're going to be Cuban. And here's what I tell Colombians when they go there, like, don't be offended when an American just categorizes you into a big group. If you go out to the West Coast, what are you? If you're Latin, you're Mexican. Órale, way. It is what it is. It is what it is. You can't take it personal. Now, when you do take it personal, it's when another Latino confuses you. Like, are you from Nicaragua? What? How dare you? It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. It's a simple mistake. But we take offense when another Latino confuses you. But like if a black person or a white person confuses you, like, no, dude, I'm Mexican. I'm from Mexico. Distrito Federal. Right? It doesn't bother you. New York. So I tell the Colombians here, listen, if you go to the United States, right, unless you live like in Jackson Heights, Queens, right, that I call that Colombianville. Unless you live there, let's say you live like where I lived in Brooklyn. I never lived in Queens. I was Boricua. I'm a Boricua. I have black friends. Boricua. What's up, bro? How you doing? It is what it is. My white friends, Russians, Jewish, Boricua. You're Puerto Rican, right? Yeah, but no, I'm Colombian. What? What do you mean? What's that? Yeah, but I'm Puerto Rican. It is what it is. And in South Florida, you're Cuban, and out in the whole West Coast, you're Mexican. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? All right. So I wanted to go over a little bit of the culture, right? So how did I come up with this topic, and what did I want to speak about with you guys? And if you guys have questions, of course, Send me the questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. All right. When I moved from New York down to Miami, we left New York right after 9/11. Right. I finished my last day of college, took off. The next day, I was driving my U-Haul down to Miami. Anyway, went to Miami and I got culture shocked. It's a different culture. It's totally different. Like the things that I believed in New York were no longer, they no longer applied in Florida. I'll give you guys an example. When I was in New York, I was very anti-guns. Like, man, if you need a gun, you're a punk. That means you don't know how to fight. You don't know how to defend yourself. Who needs a gun? You should be able to duke it out. So like a man, you should fight it. Well, then I got to Florida. I'm there. I'm still thinking, you know what? There's no guns. I ain't believe in guns because you kind of get, I don't know, I don't want to call it brainwashed, but you kind of get indoctrinated into a certain belief depending on where you are, especially when you're young. It's easier. Like now, I'm setting my beliefs. I have my morals. I know what I want. I know what's right for me and my family. Anybody else can do whatever they want, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Anyway, so I get to Florida, and we go through our first hurricane. Never before had I experienced anything like it. First one that comes over, guess which one came right over us? First year we get there, Katrina. You guys remember Katrina? All right, Katrina was the one that went into New Orleans and flooded everything, right? And I saw they were going into the Superdome, or the arena there, right? And they were robbing people, and supposedly they were raping little girls in the bathrooms there at the Superdome, and gangs were all over the place and stuff. And I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm like, man. Now, I don't know if you guys know. I think I've told you guys this in the past. I was a martial arts instructor over in Miami. I've been doing martial arts all my life since I was 11 years old. I've been doing martial arts, right? And I saw it. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter how much I know how to fight. 3 or more guys, I won't be able to defend myself or my family. And then I saw like the police are letting these people just basically run wild in this time of crisis, because there was the whole hurricane that just flooded all of New Orleans. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm in a hurricane prone state where hurricanes can pass. I saw what happened. It was freaking scary. I was petrified. I'm like, oh, and we lost power, and we didn't have light for like I think 6-7 days. And I had just gotten there. I didn't know how to prepare. We didn't have a grill. We ended up driving like 4 hours north until we found an open McDonald's. We went in there. We were starving the whole time. And second hurricane that came through, I forget the name of it. I think it was Wilma, if I'm not mistaken. I think Katrina came first, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, Wilma came through. Now, Katrina didn't do us that bad. It just knocked out our power. But then Wilma came through, and I was prepared. I had my gas tank grill. We had a little portable radio back in those days. There was no smartphones back in those days. I think we were still doing, I believe when we got to Florida, we were using the Nextels. I don't know if you guys remember the Nextel cell phones we used to use in New York. They were like kind of like walkie-talkies. Anyway, we had those. And we heard Law and Order through a little radio that we had, that we connected, and we were able to hear it. I felt like I was in the 1920s. Like, when they used to listen to the stories or the soap operas or the movies or the radio shows on the audio, and it'll be great. Man, my wife put on one headphone, I put on the other headphone, we laid there. The great thing was that it was a windy storm to that Wilma. And we opened up the windows, we had nice AC, we had a grill, we were cooking, we were making coffee, rice, it was great. So after that, I adapted. I was no longer scared of hurricanes as long as I was well prepared. I had enough food, I had ice, I had a grill, I had batteries, I had candles. Once once you become a Floridian, then you're not scared of hurricanes anymore because now you know how to prepare. It's when you don't know or you've never experienced it, like the first Hurricane Katrina that passed over us that didn't even do anything to us. Like, it just passed by really quick. It knocked out our power, and that was the worst part of it. So I saw everything that was happening in the Superdome when they were robbing people and gangs were going across. I'm like, man, how the hell am I supposed to defend my family if something like that happens here? How about if everything floods? So I said, okay, we do have a right to be able to bear arms. So my mindset started changing. I'm like, okay, I can't count on law enforcement in case somebody comes in looting, right? I can't count on them, so I have to be able to protect myself and my family, right? Screw my belongings. You can replace that. That's nothing. It doesn't really matter if they come in and steal from you and loot. Well, whatever. That can be replaced. It's your life. It's your integrity. Especially for women. My son, he wasn't born yet. He still wasn't here. But it was my wife and I said, there's only one way to protect it. So I went out, I got a gun license, and then I started the bearing arms, which is something I'm going to talk about in one of these live videos about bearing arms in Colombia. Okay, we'll talk about that. We're not going to talk about that today. That'll be for another one. But the culture-wise, right? Today's culture. So that was a culture shock for me. When I got to Florida, oh man, my culture, I started kind of adapting. Okay, I believe in the right to bear arms now. But when I was in New York, I was very, very anti-gun. I'm like, no, that's bad. That's horrible. You shouldn't do that. So I wanted to go over some of the culture shocks here. And all right, here's one, right? Let's go over respect. All right, respect. Respect here is different than respect in the States. Okay? I'll give you an example. Let's say I go into I don't know, like a home center, which is Home Depot in the United States, right? You get to Home Depot, you're looking for, I don't know, you're looking for a special screwdriver, or you want to know where the screwdrivers are at, right? It's in the hardware department. You find an associate, see him, hey, trying to find screwdrivers, you know where I can find the hardware aisle? Yeah, sure, I'll walk you over there. Aisle 17, to whatever it is, right? Fine. Did you guys feel that I disrespected this individual by the way I spoke to him? Again, I'll repeat it, right? I look at the name tag. Hey, David, trying to find the hardware department where I can find a screwdriver? Yeah, sure. Come on, I'll walk you over here. It's in aisle 17. Perfect. Do you guys feel that I disrespected him in any way at all? Right? You guys can put it in the chat, in the comment, or not. There's no disrespect, I believe. He didn't take any disrespect out of it. I asked him a question. He let me know. He walked me over there. Okay? All right. Here in Colombia, that would be totally disrespectful. And I've been checked here many times. Let me show you, or let me tell you what the protocol is. It doesn't make it better or worse. It's just different. Okay? It's just different. Here, you have to greet the individual. If it's morning, good morning. If it's afternoon, good afternoon. If it's evening, buenas noches. Good evening. All right? And if you don't, I get to an associate here in Colombia. Maria, I'm looking for the aisle where you guys have the screwdrivers. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today? Oh, they check you. They make sure that you understand that you're disrespecting them. So the culture is different, right? What they consider here disrespectful, we as Americans consider not disrespectful at all. It's just, it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different, right? So here you have to greet, whether it's a home center, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's somebody in the street that you're trying to find an address, a street, a location, a store, whether, no matter what you do, whenever you interact with somebody, you have to greet them. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you today? So there's a greeting process that, and if you don't do it, you're walking down the street, excuse me, sir, I'm trying to find Carrera 17, I'm trying to find 17th Avenue. Good evening. How's it going, sir? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, sorry. Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo le ha ido? Bien. How can I find so and so or whatnot? Okay, that's the difference. So that level of respect. Now, let's flip it. What's not considered disrespectful here, but can be seen as disrespectful in the United States? Okay. I'm still trying to get over it because I still have that American culture. I'm still telling myself they're not doing it out of disrespect, Alex. They're not doing it. They're not being disrespectful. They're just going, right? Motorcycles weaving in and out of traffic. They will literally cut you. They won't let you go. They'll do this, but it's not disrespectful. It's for them. It's not disrespectful at all. So let's put that one up. You see this right here, right? That in the States, if you're in traffic and a motorcycle is just going through, some people might see it as disrespectful. Why is this guy not in lane with everybody else? You know, see disrespecting me, they might just come in and cut you and not let you go. We, as Americans, might find that disrespectful. As a matter of fact, my first year in Miami, I came down with a motorcycle, right, from New York. I brought it down on the U-Haul truck. And I used to live in Westchester, right, Miami. And I used to work down in Brickell. I used to work in this ad agency. And I used to drive my motorcycle back and forth. It was quick, especially if I was driving during rush hour traffic, right? It was a lot easier to be in the motorcycle. Anyway, I was weaving just like this picture, right? Not doing anything crazy, just driving right through the middle of traffic because everybody was stopped. As I'm driving slowly, I wasn't even speeding, I looked through my rear view mirror. Police officer in his motorcycle. Man, I pulled right in. I pulled in right into the lane, right? And he looked at me, and what's the first thing he told me? What are you, stupid? I went, yep, I'm so sorry, officer. I don't know what I was thinking. I could have hurt myself. I could have hurt anybody. And he says, well, don't let me catch you again, you know, because then I'm gonna ticket you, or I'm gonna, whatever he told me, right? Here, you can weave right through traffic, in and out, in front of the police officers, no biggie, in front of Tránsito, no biggie, right? So, Tránsito are traffic police, and then you have your police, right? So, the Tránsito takes care of any, we're going to get into that as well. I have a whole segment because my wife and I, we just don't really get along with Tránsito. I don't know if you guys seen, there's a blog where they actually take our car because I drove on a day when I'm not supposed to be driving. Regardless, here you can just go. I've seen them go by. The police do it. Everybody does it. Everybody. And it's so natural. They're not disrespecting you. It's just here, it's very normal. Like you're driving and they'll just go right by you, going against way, just cut in and go. I still find it disrespectful, but I still have that mentality of the culture, you know? So that's just one of the examples that I want to give you guys. Let's go over some of the comments that people are asking about. What happens if I carry a gun in Colombia? Quick answer to that. If you carry a gun in Colombia and you get stopped and frisked, I believe you might get arrested. I think you get arrested and there's a fine with it. There's ways of getting to be able to carry. I'm working on that. Once I get all the information, I will let you guys all know what's the procedure and all that stuff through one of these lives, just because it's you know, it's something that I believe in, and you know, I feel like I have the right to protect myself. When we went to the United States, somebody was looking into the house, and my mother-in-law was here, and a friend came over, and the friend saw them, and she didn't like the way they were looking inside the house. So they called the police. Police never came. Right? So it is what it is, right? But we'll go over that stuff. But I believe if you don't have a license to carry, then you could go to jail. I don't know how long you stay in, because I've heard, I don't know all the laws yet, but I'm trying to find out, because I would like to actually own a legal weapon here, just like I do in the States, right? I noticed that most people in Colombia carry knives, and most delinquents carry guns. Yes, but not just knives. Okay, some people carry machetes, right? And they know how to use it. You know, my son asked me, you know, because you know, him and I, we practice sparring all the time. So he asked me, you know, what would you do if somebody pulls out a machete? I said, man, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna freaking run as fast as I can. I'm not gonna fight a machete. I don't know if you guys seen this video online that I believe it might have been in the Dominican Republic. I don't know. I think it was. And these two guys come out with the machetes and they're fighting. And the guy falls, and as he falls, he swings his machete. And the guy's freaking hand just flies off. His whole hand flies off. And then he goes back, picks up his hand and walks away. Like literally his hand just flew right off. Craziest thing I've seen, all right? Let's see, another one. Florida drivers, especially Miami drivers, have vendetta against motorcycles. Yes, I think this is true. I think because some of them, a lot of the motorcycles, especially, there's a lot of young people in Miami. Like Miami's a young city, I believe, for the most part. So the people that drive are younger, and they may people don't like people weaving in and out of traffic. So people try to, and that's where you see all those bumper stickers in cars. I watch out for motorcycles. There's a lot of people, responsible adults, that do drive motorcycles the legal way. You know, they have a lot of family members like that, so they put these bumper stickers, you know, I watch out for motorcycles. But yes, there can be a vendetta against motorcycles, right? But here, I'm actually thinking about getting a motorcycle here. It's a quick form of transportation. The weather's always great. It's an eternal spring. It's spring all year long. So having a motorcycle here is actually really good. And of course, if I get a motorcycle, I'm gonna try to get one with the plate that doesn't match mine, so on Fridays when I'm grounded from driving my car out in the street, I can drive out on the motorcycle. And then traffic here can be rough as well. And if I can weave in and out of traffic, not like these people do here, you know, but sometimes slow. If there's a backed up traffic, I can just go around. You can move through traffic a lot easier, you know? So I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle here as well. All right. Culture. We went over respect. We went, here's another thing, right? Family, right? I've noticed here, now, I don't know if you guys know, but we ran a martial arts academy in Miami. It was a huge academy. And we also had like after school and summer camp and all that stuff that we had kids coming in and stuff, right? And I noticed that as kids got older, they were less, this is in my own experience, right? I feel like the kids and the parents kind of tend to do this. Like, for instance, in the United States, what's the age that most parents expect kids to leave the house and go off on their own, right? I like to say anywhere between 18 and 21, right? Culture-wise, right? We expect our kids in the States, hey, listen, you're 18, 21 years old, like, maybe you can go out with a roommate, you've been here long enough, it's time to get out. But it starts leading up to that once they start entering middle school. Like I started seeing disconnect, like parents and kids. In my experience, of course, there's parents and kids out there that they have the best of relationships, of course. But I start seeing that they kind of tend to start separating a little bit. Like the connection starts, there's an age gap, there's a parent and child difference as well. But here, then before I get into that, when they're kids, they love their parents a lot, like all the babies. Like we had kindergarteners, pre-K coming into our academy, and whenever they would see their parents, they'll be the happiest. They'll be like, oh my God, my mom and dad, they're here. But then as they got older, 4th grade, 5th grade, middle school, right? Can't even think about high school. We never really had high schoolers in our camps, right? But you start seeing the disconnect, like they kind of tend to open up, right? And I think one of the main reasons for that is, who's raising their kids? I'm talking about the culture now in the United States, right? Who's raising the kids? The school system, right? We would have parents drop off children at 7 a.m. and they would pick them up at 7 p.m. And that's 12 hours. Get home, dinner, maybe watch a show, and 9, 10 o'clock, they were asleep. So and then the next morning they were up by 6 o'clock and they would drop them off at our center by 7 a.m. What time did they have with their kids? And this was Monday through Friday. We didn't open up on the weekends. Monday through Friday. Is it the parents' fault? Not really. Because parents have to work. Moms have to work now. Dads have to work now. So that was with us. But I know now schools have early care, I believe it's called, right? Where you can drop off your kid early in the morning. They can have breakfast in school. Then from school, when school finishes at 3 o'clock, they go into after schools to about 6, probably. So who's raising their kids? Who's instilling the values? The teachers? What values do the teachers have? Some teachers have great values. But we all had that one teacher. We were like, ugh. Right? Maybe that teacher also felt the same way about you. Ugh. I had teachers who loved me. And I had teachers who I knew did not like me. But I didn't like them either. You're not going to like everybody, and everybody's not going to like you. So your kid has to deal with this all day long. And then I assume parents get home. Work is so horrible, they got to pay you to do it. Right? So you had a rough day at work. Your kid is happy to finally be home and with his stuff where he feels safe and comfortable, where he can be him or her, jumping up and down, running around. He's getting yelled at by you. Not your fault. Probably had a rough day in school. I mean, you probably had a rough day at work. Projects, deadlines you couldn't meet, or you did meet, or your boss is taking it out on you because he also had a rough day at home. So it's like a culmination of things, right? I haven't seen any after schools or early care here in Colombia. I haven't seen it. But you know what I have seen, right? I have seen that my son now is in high school, right? And we go to these meetings and we go to, to the events they have where the parents come in. And guys, let me tell you, it's totally different how even the older kids, let's not even talk about the younger kids, because all the younger kids love their parents. In the States and here, your parent, you're the hero, right? But as they get older, let me ask you a question. High school kids, middle school kids. Now, this is not everybody, of course. I don't want to generalize. But for the most part, right? Would your kid in middle school, let's say 8th, 9th grade, 7th, 8th grade, right? That's middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th, right? In front of all the other kids, come around, give you a nice hug, give you a nice kiss, freaking hold hands with you, right? It doesn't happen in the States. Mom, Dad, come on, stop. Here, guys, kids are giving kisses to their moms and dads. I'm talking about middle school and high school, in front of everybody. Like the connections are still there. Culture, different. Not better, not worse, just different. But I think my wife and I were talking the other day, and we were like, man, we're so glad we made the move. At first, it was scary. Like, it was super scary. We were terrified. Oh my God. I would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh my God, I'm taking my family to a third world country. What the fuck am I doing? Like, this is what would go through my mind. When the house was sold, when we were selling all our stuff, when we were sleeping like in an inflatable mattress on the floor because all our furniture was gone. Like, we were just there. We were just waiting for the day to close on the house, and we were leaving. And I used to be like, oh, what the heck am I doing? I don't have anything else anymore. Like, everything is gone. We've sold off everything, and we're leaving to another country. Not just another country, technically a third world country, right? Guys, best choice we could have done. Because I look at my son and the way he interacts now and the camaraderie he has with his friends and the love. Like, you see love. Like, it's weird to put it into words, but you see love between the kids, how much they love each other, right? And I don't see bullying. Like, I really don't see bullying. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. Something I want to talk about completely out of the topic of culture between here and there, right? But even with the parents, like, you see love within them, and it's crazy. Like, I see it, I'm like, oh man, I would never see that in the States. You never see that. But like, you see the parents interacting with the kids, and love is they're not just being PTA parents, No, it's different. It's just different. And my wife and I are really happy that our son came here. Like, perfect example. We went to the States. We took my son last year to celebrate his birthday with some of his friends that he knew from Miami. Anyway, we went to one of the friends' house. We were going to drop him off there while we ran some errands, and we had to pick up some supplies to bring back to Colombia. Kid comes out of the house. Guys, never looked at us, never said hi to us, never did anything. Just kind of, and started talking to my son. That was it. It's in the blog. You guys can see. There's a blog that we put up the other day. Walked up to all the kids. Every kid stood up, came up to me, either gave me the pound or a handshake. Hey, how's it going? And left. Respect. The culture is a little bit different. And kids here learn that, right? Like, when I go to Lake City, everybody calls me Mr. Alex. Different. There's a little bit different kind of respect. I don't know if it's the big city or smaller city. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But here the kids will see you and they'll come up to you. They'll shake your hand. They'll look you in the eye. They'll speak to you. It's really good. In the States, I never really see that firsthand, right? Let's go through one more. We spoke about kids and the love. All right. I think I have to speak about this because it's going on and I've dealt with it a lot. Especially, I just told you guys we had a center and we had all types of kids. And when I mean about all types of kids, we had athletic kids, we had artsy kids, we had creative kids. We also had a lot of kids in the spectrum. And what I mean by the spectrum, I'm talking about autism. Okay? And autism, not a lot of people have been able to work with autistic children. My wife, the team we had at our martial arts academy and after school and summer camp program, they all had a chance to work with these children, right? And nobody was there to teach us, no psychologists. We kind of learned on our own and we were able to identify and figure out how to deal with certain parts of the spectrum. And autism is it's so wide. There's so many aspects to it, right? This has nothing to do with Colombian. You don't see it here. And we saw one yesterday when we went to Éxito. Éxito is like the Walmart here, right? And I said, look, that kid's autistic. You don't really see autistic kids here. But then we looked at each other, yeah, but there's only 50 million people here in Colombia. The United States has 335 million people now, right? So the probability of seeing more is going to be a lot higher than seeing it here. So you gotta see, crime, you probably shootings and stuff, you probably see a lot more in the States just because there's a lot more people than here, 50 million, right? So we saw one like, oh shit, that kid's autistic, right? You can tell, you can identify them, right? Like for instance, if you see me walking down the street, you're like, that's Alex. You can identify me. You're not going to say that's Trevor, right? I don't look like a Trevor. I look like Alex. You're able to identify me as I'm coming down. Like I can identify a person when I see and I say that this person's autistic. I can just see from them. And an autistic person can be somebody with a genius mind like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is autistic, right? A genius that can change all our lives, right? The guy's a genius and he does good things. He says some crazy things, but he's autistic, right? All right. Then you have another part of autism, and that's violent. Then you have another part of autism that's very loving. All they do is exert love to everyone. The most lovable people in the world, right? They don't have a mean bone in their body, right? Then you have some that they're gone. They're gone in their head, right? It's hard to communicate with them. It's hard to speak with them. It's hard to do anything with them, right? Then you have those that really don't have remorse for anybody else. And it's hard to explain it because they don't understand what remorse for somebody else is. If that makes any sense. I just felt like today I had to speak about this, even though I was talking about culture. And let's go over this kid. All right, let's put this up. All right, this kid right here. All right, no one, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, will you condone anything this kid has done, right? You won't condone him trying to kill Donald Trump. Whether you're on the left or the right, you don't want to, nobody on the left or the right wants Biden to die, unless it's by natural causes next week. But I'm kidding, right? But nobody would condone that, what he did. Evil, bad, horrible, right? But I believe this kid was autistic, right? And nobody's talking about this on the media, right? No, nobody's talking that this kid is autistic. I can see him. Like, if you see your mom, or you see your dad, or you see your brother, you see your sister, right? Walking down the street, you can identify him. You say, that's mom, right? You're not going to confuse it with the grocery lady who checks out your bags at the grocery store. No, that's mom. You can identify that person. Just like I've worked with so many of these children that the minute I see them, I can identify them. Oh, autistic, right? Let's see where he's at in the spectrum, right? And I'm not trying to condone what he did. Horrible, 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 right? But I believe the system failed him. I heard an interview online where a kid that went to high school with him said, he was a loner. He sat by himself, trait of autism. Some of them, not all of them, right? You might know an autistic. Maybe you have an autistic person in your family. I don't know, right? And they may be the most. You have these two. Ooh, they don't stop speaking. Oh my gosh. I had a kid in my class. I'm not going to mention what age. I'm not going to mention or anything like that. But no matter what I said, he had something to say. And sometimes it wasn't appropriate. Sometimes it was really funny. Sometimes it didn't make sense. Right? So you have those. Then you have those that are just introverted. They just want to be left alone. But then they're easy targets for bullies and bullying, right? And at our place, it would happen too, right? Some of these kids, they wouldn't interact well with others because of their disability, autism. And some of the kids may want to go ahead and pick on them. We wouldn't let this happen at our academy. And I would immediately speak to the kids, not in front of them. I would bring the kid that was kind of bothering him, and I was like, dude, what's going on? Be like, well, he did this, and I'm like, I know. And then I would look at him in the eye and I would tell him, you do know he's different, right? And then you would just see the sparkle and like, wait a minute, he's not like us. I'm like, listen, treat him good, man. Or girl. Because sometimes the girls can be mean too, right? Be like, guys, listen, treat him good. This may be the only place where he can have peace of mind, where nobody will bully him. I would tell the kid, listen, you are going to go on to live a great life. You're a good-looking kid. You're smart. You have no autism. You're good. You're good-looking. You're athletic. You're this. You're going to have a great life. You're probably going to have a great girlfriend or boyfriend. You're going to get married. You're going to have kids. You're going to have a great job. You're going to go on to your career. Who knows what you're going to do? You're going to have a great life. I said, this kid, on the other hand, there's a great possibility his life may not be as easy as yours. Because when he goes into a store, he might be treated differently. Maybe it'll be harder for him to get a job because his interpersonal skills are not normal. I'm not going to say as good. They're not normal. They're not normal like the rest of society. Okay? And I'm guilty of it too. One day, there was this Haagen-Dazs over in one of the malls where we used to go in Miami called The Falls. And this kid had the worst attitude. But then, and I used to get mad at him. I would go in and like, this fucking guy, man. This fucking guy is always giving me a fucking attitude. I can't stand him. And then I started looking, I said, wait a minute. This kid is autistic. But he wasn't a kid anymore. He was like 18, 19, 20 years old. He was autistic. It wasn't his fault. He's just, remember, the spectrum is crazy. The spectrum is crazy. You can have super outspoken, they will make you laugh, they can debate you, they can mix in with society amazingly. You have those that are lost in their mind, can't even speak to them. There was a kid in our summer camp, parents would bring him, and the mom would come to us and like, yeah, this is the only place where he wants to come back. And literally, he didn't want to participate in any of the activities that we would have for the kids. Some of the favorites like dodgeball and video games and stuff. No, he had this little toy. I'll use this for instance, if this was a toy. But he had like a little stuffed toy. He wanted that little stuffed toy, right? And he would just walk around with his toy. And I instructed everybody, listen, leave him. He doesn't want to participate. Leave him. He's fine. He's not hurting anybody. He's good. We would keep an eye on him so he wouldn't get hurt. But he wasn't forced. Like all the other kids who were normal, they couldn't just do that. They had to participate in all the sports, but leave him. He's cool. He would hang out. He would come, hang out. He would interact with the kids when he wanted to. And when he didn't want to, he would just be with his toy and go off. And one day he lost his toy, and it was the most beautiful thing. Everybody, I'm talking about all the other kids, knew already. And they all started looking for his toy until they found it. They wanted to help him. And it's beautiful because the bullying didn't go. And supposedly this kid, Thomas Matthew, let's put him back on the screen for a second. This kid right here who tried to assassinate, unfortunately he's dead now. The kid that went to high school with him said he was always on his own, isolated, and that he would be picked on a lot because he was just different, right? And this is true. It would happen also at our academy where just because the child was different, people would come in and try to pick on him. And I just felt like I had to bring this out because it's an issue. People are thinking, oh, the left did this, or it was an inside job from the Trump to try to win the presidency, and then the people from the far right are saying, no, the Democrats did this and they try to take him out. The Democrats have done their own stuff and that they're guilty of. That's different. And Trump has done his own stuff and that's different. This kid, lone wolf, they're calling him, right? We had another kid who was 13 years old, right? And for some reason, a certain part of the spectrum of autism, when boys hit a certain age, I'm going to say between the ages of 12 and 15, they get a fascination, not just normal kids, but these kids. They get a fascination for weapons and killing. I don't know why. Had this kid at the academy, and he couldn't interact well with the other kids, right? And I'll be in my office, and I had windows where I can see out if anything was going on. And I would look out, and I would be watching like army stuff and military and invasions and stuff like that on his laptop. And then he would stand up and he'll be like, Hell Hitler, and he'll be doing this stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, it was just weird, But it wasn't the first time I saw that once they hit that puberty age, they're very inclined to own weapons and guns, right? There's other instances where I've seen, of course, what they've done. You can't condone it. They killed innocent people, innocent lives. They did a lot of this stuff, right? Like the school shootings that also happened in Florida. I forget the kid's name, Nicholas something, I believe it was. Let me second, whatever. You guys will know. You know how I told you guys, oh, that's Alex. That's not Trevor. That's Alex. Look, he's walking this way. I can identify. I can see that they're autistic, right? The kid that did that shooting, to me, that child was autistic. And when they get bullied, they get very vengeful. But here's the other hand, right? They're not remorseful. They don't understand. It's just not in them, right? I'll hit you. I don't care. But if you just do this to them, just this, it's horrible pain. Like, it really hurts them. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, even when some of my kids took the martial arts classes, these kids, they'll come out there, oh my God, I'm going to fight, and they'll punch. Then all of a sudden, guys, I've seen people get hit hard. I've seen people get hit very easy. And these kids, I would tell the kid that was sparring with them, I was like, hey, remember, we're going to go very easy with him. A light touch. I'm talking about like that. It was painful. Like they would really feel pain. And when they go through this pain, such as bullying, getting picked on, getting smacked in the head, we all went to high school. We all know how it was, right? I didn't see autism growing up. Maybe I did. Maybe they were getting out earlier, right? Because we call them the ESL kids, right? They would get out earlier. At that point, I didn't understand what autism is. Maybe they were autistic. Maybe they were just bad. I don't know. Maybe they were ADHD. I don't know, right? But all that stuff, they stop. I'm going to kill these guys. I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to kill them. And then they go and do this stuff, right? Yes, you do have your crazy normal people as well. And when you see them, like, yeah, that guy's not autistic. There's something. I don't know how to explain it, but when you see him, you're like, yeah, this person is autistic, right? And that's something that we're not speaking about in America right now or across the globe. Oh, gun violence. Oh, this, oh, that. Guys, and I think about these kids a lot, more than I actually should when I'm here and I'm like, I wonder how this kid's doing. Or I wonder how this kid's doing. I wonder how they're treating him. Man, I wish I can be there to help him out, because they're going to have a rough life. It's a rough life out there. It's tough being normal, man. It's freaking tough just being a normal citizen in society. It's freaking tough. And there's idiots out there weaving in through traffic who are not autistic at all. They're just normal people, right? Right? And then you have these kids, right? They're doing it just because they're just different. They don't know how to interact well with others. And if you've never been around them or you don't understand them, then you're like, yeah, I'm going to punch this guy in the face. Or this person's horrible. Or this person's being disrespectful to me. Just understand that. Jay, thank you for that comment. You know what? I've thought about teaching here again in Colombia. I even thought about opening up something here in my own place. I have like this basketball court right in my property, and I can actually teach from there. It's like as big as a dojo, and I don't know if I have the passion to teach again anymore. Like I don't know if I want to be tied down to a schedule where I have to be there at a certain time, at a certain place, doing certain things with people. I mean, it'll be great because I do love it. I still train martial arts every day. I train martial arts every day. A little bit different from what I used to teach. I used to teach martial arts academy. I taught for 30 years. I don't know if I have it there anymore. I don't know if I want to be stuck to a schedule anymore. But I do practice it every day with my wife, with my son. With my wife, I practice it every day. With my son, every chance I get. All right. It's I don't know if I want to be tied down to a schedule. I've thought about it. Some days I'm like, yeah, man, I want to do it again. And I can't wait to open up my class and have people come over and teach them and do this. And then once I started, okay, if I had a class today at 3:00, I'll be teaching today at 3, and then 3:00 comes around because I try to put myself in that mindset prior to doing any of it, right? And then 3:00 comes around, man, if I had people coming over right now where I have to teach them, I wouldn't want to be doing that right now. So I do want to help people. I do enjoy people a lot. Like I enjoy interacting with people, and especially kids, especially kids like that who maybe they're misunderstood and people don't understand their situation or the dilemma or their disability, because it is a disability at the end of the day. And this kid, man, Thomas Matthew, whatever, he did something horrible, but I think the system failed him because, maybe the schools are too big in the States. Maybe there's not enough staff. Maybe they don't care enough. Maybe they don't have enough money. I don't know, but we failed them. Somebody didn't intervene when they saw that happening. Maybe their thought, the teachers thought, or the people in charge, maybe they thought, well, maybe they shouldn't be acting that way. They can't help it. It's a disability. It's not their fault, So society failed them, and then they turn around and get even. And that kid's a devil. He deserves the death penalty. But nobody sees all the shit that they went through, leading to that point of no return, going into a school and killing innocent kids, trying to shoot at the president. Well, actually, he didn't try. He actually did do it. It's just it's crazy. And this has nothing to do with being an expat or Colombia. I know I went off topic, but I felt like I have some experience in it. I've dealt with kids like this a lot. We had them in our academy. All spectrums, guys. When I tell you all spectrums, like there was kids that were autistic. I'll say it again. Like I've posted sometimes on social media, and this kid got failed by the system, and I try to explain as much as I can on through writing, and they'll tell me, no, my son is autistic and he never behaves like that. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right, and you're one of the lucky ones, to a certain extent. Because some of these children, these autistic children, they can be the most lovable kids, the most tender, sweet kids. That's one part of the spectrum. There's another part of the spectrum where like I said, they're lost in their mind. You just can't talk to them. They're gone. They get a little thing and they're just gone. They're in their own world. They're not in this world. They're in another world. That's the best way I can see it. I can explain it. Then you have these kids who just will never stop talking. They're constant. Sometimes inappropriately, sometimes debated. They'll debate you. Sometimes they're just very quick at talking. For instance, you know who I believe is autistic? Ben Shapiro. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's a podcaster. Ben Shapiro. He's that Jewish guy who has I forget the name. I forgot about my cappuccino. Got a cappuccino machine. It's amazing. I can't get enough of these cappuccinos. Ben Shapiro. I think he's autistic. The way he speaks. And that's one spectrum of autism. He speaks just like an autistic person speaks. And I don't think Ben Shapiro is going to go ahead and try to kill anybody because he's not at that spectrum. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's a wide spectrum. And then you have these kids that they just don't do well with others. And then others take that as a disrespect and they try to bully and hit and tell them you're stupid and you're dumb and what are you doing here? Get away from me. Don't stand next to me. Get away. So then they isolate themselves more, and it starts in kindergarten, guys. So by the time they're in high school, they don't want to deal with anybody. And then they're still getting treated bad because they're just so different from everybody else. And then these horrible events take place. With that, I have some other topics I want to speak about. I'm going to try to do this once a week for now. Maybe I'll bring it up to twice a week. You guys tell me, is this a good time for you guys? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, put that notification bell on so next time I go live, you guys can hear You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening to me talk about this. I felt it was important to me to speak about. I'm blessed that my son is not, even though some days I tell him, dude, are you autistic? I do. I actually tell him that. He's not. But sometimes I think he is. But he's not. Paulix, if you watch this, I love you, dude. All right? He's not. He's a totally normal kid. Knock on wood. I love him. Yes, I'm blessed to have a normal child with all his imperfections and everything. But, guys, bless you guys. If you guys have questions about anything about being an expat, living in Colombia, traveling here, let us know. Send me a question through one of the videos. Go in there. Right now I respond to everybody. Okay, so if you guys have a question on our Instagram, you can also send us a message there at Kid Got Your Ticket as well. What else? That's it, guys. I'm out. Have a great week. It's Monday. Bye, guys.